Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go through some of my favorite products for a no makeup look. Listen, there's technique. Yes, there is. But there's also some products that it really doesn't matter how you apply them. They're not going to achieve the same kind of like no makeup feel. You know what I mean? It's just not the same vibe. So these are some of my favorite products for that particular situation. Most of these products are cruelty-free. There is one that is not. As I've mentioned before, but I'm going to mention it again. I am transitioning to be cruelty-free, and by that, I certainly do not mean that I'm throwing out all of my products that aren't cruelty-free. I decluttered a lot of them, but the products that I still really love that aren't cruelty-free, I am going to be using up. So that is why you'll hear me kind of call out whether or not it's cruelty-free, just so you guys know. But I will still be talking about products that are non-cruelty-free here and there. So we have that out of the way, all right? Let's get her going, shall we? So this first product, this is a recent endeavor. Oh wow, I need to get my other part of this. The frickin' Becca Light Shifter Brightening Concealer. I have just really been liking this ever since I talked about it in that video 3 days ago. It's really changed my world. I'm gonna start with my Becca Under Eye Corrector. So I've talked about this one approximately 8 billion times. But I'm gonna keep talking about it, that's for sure. This product I love because it's not a super heavy or thick color corrector. It doesn't look really cakey, it doesn't look dry. It is quite the opposite. In fact, it looks a lot more kind of like dewy and skin-like. If you over apply it, it can sometimes be like a little bit too dewy or a little bit too brightening. But I do like to just put a tiny little bit underneath in the areas where I need it the most. So I'm gonna kind of just dabble that on. I'm using a really dense brush for this. And the reason being, instead of my beauty blender, is when I'm going for a more no makeup look where I want my makeup to be like pretty seamless and unseen, I prefer to use brushes a lot of the time and then maybe finish with a beauty blender rather than apply with a beauty blender, just because sometimes that beauty blender can just apply too much product. So here we have it. This is the Becca Under Eye Corrector on this side and nothing on this side. I just think it does a great job of brightening that up without adding a super thick layer of product, and also without having, like a really intense color correcting tone to it. I've mentioned in the past that there's a lot of more traditional color correctors that are like very, very peachy or very, very orange. And those to me are best suited for people that have significant discoloration where just something with a little bit of the tone to it isn't going to cut it. They're going to need to completely conceal that discoloration and then go over top with a normal colored concealer. If you have more of an average to light kind of discoloration, I think that this product would be suitable. That said, it's sort of weird sometimes. We live in a very full coverage world, you know? And I feel like some people, myself included, it's just kind of odd to use something that isn't full coverage because you feel like you're not covered. Like you feel like it's just not enough, or that you look tired or whatever, but a lot of the times that's just simply not the case. So I applied that with my big dense brush, and now I'm taking my little ring finger and I'm just patting that out to make sure that it's blended really, really well. And then also so I'm picking up any excess product. Now, I'm gonna go over top with my Becca concealer. So this is the Light Shifter, Light Shifter Brightening Concealer. I'm using shade 2.5. And I'm going to squeeze out just a little more product. Oh, that was probably more than I needed. Okay. So I'm kind of pulling that down onto the area of my cheek where I have the most redness. And right there on my nose. Actually, maybe I'll take a little right there, tiniest amount. So this concealer, if you didn't catch it in my last video, this is incredibly sheer. Like this is, they ain't fucking around, okay? That's not just a marketing claim. is sheer, bro, okay? So consider this the chiffon of the frickin' concealer world. Because this is so sheer, I'm gonna go in with my Beauty Blender so that we're keeping a lot of that coverage right where we want it. And I'm just patting that in. And then I'm gonna take that and just kind of run it across my lid because I don't want to apply so much product on there like a concealer all over my lid, just because that's going to look just not very no makeup-y, you know? It's gonna ruin the illusion. But I do want to kind of correct a little bit of that color. And then once I feel like I'm all nice and blended, damn man, I love that concealer. Then I'm gonna take a little Hourglass Veil translucent powder. And I'm just gonna use my Real Techniques. There's literally nothing left on this brush anymore. I'm gonna use this pink brush and I'm going to make sure there's no creasing here before I go to powder. I'm dipping my brush in and then I'm tapping off almost all of the excess, and then I'm just going to press that right into our crease area. I'm not really worried about setting this entire thing because I'm fine having a little bit of that light reflect happening, dewiness on my brow bone, but I just want to make sure that that crease is not going to crease, which defies all logic. So we're trying our best not to over apply anything here and just go slow and steady, you know, build up slowly rather than going in with a bunch of product and then trying to tone it back down. For my foundation, you know, I just don't know that this is going to be a good match for me these days, but that's okay. So one of my favorite no makeup foundations is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude Water Fresh Makeup. I'm just not sure if this is getting discontinued. I've had like this weird feeling and I think that it might be, but I just can't recall. So anyways, that's one of my favorites. The reason I like this so much is because it just looks so thin on your skin. It's immaculate. The only thing I would say is that sometimes it can look maybe a little bit drying. So I'm gonna put in the areas where I know that I sometimes get a little bit drier with makeup, I'm gonna put some hydrator underneath. And by hydrator, I mean moisturizer. Oh, I hate myself. Okay, I'm gonna take my Smashbox primerizer and I'm just going to put that around my mustachio and my nose actually. And then maybe a final little bit right here between my brows. Uh-oh, someone's getting pulled over right outside my house. This cop is asserting his dominance with his horn. I'm all nice and moisturized. I'm gonna take a little bit of this and pour it out onto my palette. The one thing that's so brutal about this foundation is it doesn't come with a pump. So you just have to pour it out, but like it just gets all fucking sloppy, like what a bitch. I'm gonna dot this all over my skin. Boop, boop. I'm gonna kind of dot towards the center of my face first. That looks like it's gonna look like a real tan on me. Dotting towards the center of my face first, and then I will kind of blend outwards. So we're keeping that coverage where we need it. If that's where you need it, that's certainly where I need it. And I'm sort of patting that in and pressing it into my skin towards the center. And then when I get to the outer corner, I can start to slowly kind of like buff that out. Just so I'm really blending it out once I get towards the edge of my face. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more there. I'm making sure to kind of go through my brows a little bit just so that I'm not missing any areas where I might have a little bit more redness. And I know that I sometimes have redness around my brow area from stress. Oh, that's not gonna work. I am gonna use my Beauty Blender. Well, hold on. I'm gonna do like a thin layer first with my brush, and then I'm gonna pick up my Beauty Blender with a little bit of that product. See here, you can see that that's like quite a bit of product. It's sort of like sitting on top of the Beauty Blender. I'm gonna press that out on my hand first, so I'm getting like a super thin layer of product, so this isn't gonna get cakey. And then I'm just barely touching that to my skin, just to give a little bit more specific coverage. And then I'm taking this kind of like side of my Beauty Blender, And I'm just pressing that foundation into the skin and picking up any excess product while doing that. Let me zoom you guys in so you can take a look at this nice and close up, okay? Oh yeah, someone told me in my last video that they don't like my armpits, and they told me to keep my hands down, but I'm finding that rather difficult while doing makeup. Anyways, here's my skin. Let's take a little peek, shall we? So I'm feeling this product. I always have been feeling this product. I just think this looks so nice and thin on the skin, as I said, and it does still have kind of a little bit of, I don't want to go as far as to call it glow, because it is more of a kind of like satin finish foundation. It's not super, super matte, but it does have a little bit of that kind of shine to it. And that's why, because that's a little bit more satin, I like pairing it with that concealer as well, because that concealer does have a little bit more glow to it. It's not going to look really matte and cakey or dry underneath your eyes, because that is a dead giveaway for makeup for me. So anytime that I'm trying to kind of emulate a more like no makeup look, where I really like, I'm actually trying to go for like, bitch, I'm not wearing makeup. This is how I was born. Okay, so step to me. Anytime I'm going for that, I want to avoid using super dry concealer, because it's just such a dead giveaway when it comes to makeup. That's not the texture of people's skin. Even if you have dry skin, it doesn't look like dry foundation does on people's skin. So I really like that it has that glow to it. It's definitely not full coverage. It's not medium coverage. It's sheer. I cannot be clear enough. It is sheer. So there is still a little bit of discoloration kind of coming through underneath my eyes. I'm fine with that, because I think that it looks, I don't know, I think it looks kind of nice, to be honest. I'm fine with how that looks when I'm wearing a more no makeup. If I'm wearing something more kind of like intense on my eyes, or like a really bold lip or something, then I probably would want to go in with a little bit more concealer. And if you're feeling like you just like aren't covered enough, you can always take a higher coverage concealer and just kind of like dot it right there and just blend it out really, really well. But I'm gonna leave that right here for right now. But I wanted to show you guys my skin close up so you guys could kind of get a feel for the look. Okay, my next product, no, I'm not gonna get over it, so don't try and force me. It's the M Cosmetics Micro Fluff Brow Gel. This is my favorite brow gel on the market currently, but I'm always willing to date around, you know? I just think that this one is so fantastic. It has such a little tiny baby brush, and so it applies like a really small, even amount, and it does make your brows look a lot fuller, but it doesn't coat them in a way that's like really noticeable as product. So it's nice, like, frankly, anytime of the day, even just like going to the gym or whatever. I've said it a billion times, but I always put a brow gel on. Like, even if I'm just on my deathbed, I fucking get a brow gel. And I'm like, listen, if I have to die today, I have to die today, but I'm going to die with brows. So that's just kind of where we're at. I put this on no matter where I'm going, because I just like to have a little bit of something through my brows. It makes me feel a lot more confident about my whole situation. So I'm being very purposeful about where I'm putting that product and how I'm laying the hairs with that product, because I want to be able to make my brows seem as full as possible with this, and as kind of structured and shaped as possible without having to add additional product. That's another kind of like dead giveaway for me when it comes to like no makeups, is this beautiful like base that's super glowy and sheer and pretty, and then it's like these like super like defined like harsh brows. Most people's brows don't grow in like that. It's just a fact of life. It's unfortunate. I wish that wasn't the way that it was, but it is, so here we are. And then, even though I feel like this is a pretty chillin' brow gel, I'm gonna take my little spoolie, which I had to glue back together with nail glue because it keeps falling apart, and I'm going to brush through just to make sure there's no like excess foundation or concealer, excess brow product, anything, and we're not getting some weird clump or anything like that. And I'm trying to do this while my brow product is still just a little bit wet, so that it will kind of like set it into place. Brow gel just it deserves all the love and affection. It really just makes such a difference in the lives of people. And by people, I mean me specifically. I try to keep that product off my skin and just make sure that I'm just keeping it through my brow hairs. I was gonna call them brow gels. That I'm just keeping it through my brow hairs, so it's, again, not going to look like super harsh or anything like that because it's only on that hair and I still have my skin kind of underneath, which helps it look a little bit more natural as well. So that's where I'm gonna leave my brows. Now, to mascara or to not mascara, I just don't know. A lot of the times in film, like on TV or in movies and stuff like that, if it's somebody that's like just waking up and they still want to look like, like prettier than like anyone does when they wake up, people will use brown mascara so that it's not as recognizable on camera, but it still looks kind of like full and nice. So a brown mascara is always a really nice option if you really do want to kind of go for a more subdued makeup look. However, if that's just not going to cut it for you, you can always use the freaking Unreal Glossier Lash Slick. Sorry, there's just blue on my mascara, or my lash curler, so I just don't want that. It doesn't really go with the no makeup look, I'll be honest. I'm gonna use Glossier Lash Slick. So this is by no means like my absolute favorite mascara in the world, but it is unreal for separating and like having no clumps whatsoever. It literally applies like the thinnest little baby layer of mascara ever, and it's perfect for looks like this if you just don't want to go without mascara, which that's fair. Most of us don't, So let's curl our little lashes. I like to kind of be a little bit gentler when I'm curling my lashes because I don't want to have like a really harsh line in it. And then I'm going to grab I'm grabbing a little bit of that, and I'm just taking that through my lashes slowly but surely. I mean, in the past, with no makeups, I've like gone through with a normal mascara and then just taken like a clean spoolie and sort of like brushed off all of that product, which would give it a similar appearance to this, but this is just, it's kind of like bizarre to me almost how, I mean, I'm wearing mascara, let's not be like crazy, but it does look so nice and like thin and even on my eyes. Let me look up for you. Look up to the heavens. Lord, I've seen what you've done for others. Please keep my skin clear, knocking on wood. I mean, it just does a damn good job. I'm gonna curl this side and then I'm gonna show you my curled lashes side by side with my without mascara, side by side with the Glossier Lash Slick. So here we are. That's a pretty thin layer, bro. Okay, like we're doing a pretty good job here, I feel. There we go. I'm gonna add a little, like the tiniest little bit underneath my eyes. I'm not gonna dip back into my product. I'm just gonna use the little bit that's left on my brush because I definitely don't want my lower lashes to get clumpy. Another telltale sign that I'm not actually wearing a no makeup. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty okay. Oh, I just rolled this directly into my foundation pile. Very upsetting. Okay. Oh, it's all up in there. Oh my God. Try to do something good for the world. This is what becomes of it. So this is the most difficult thing in the world for me. I hate trying to apply bronzer sparingly. It's my hell on earth, okay? I just want to apply so much, but I'm going to use this Divine product. This is the Westman Atelier Face Trace Contour Stick in the color Biscuit. It's the only color they have. This product is stunning and beautiful, and it's a really, really good color for lighter skin tones, and only for light skin tones. And I'm going to apply that so sparingly and just blend it upwards because I just want to add a little bit of definition to my cheeks, but not a crazy amount. You'll notice that I'm sticking to cream and liquid products for my face. It's because they're superior in every way. And then I can take a little bit of that and kind of like brush it on the outer corner of my eye there, just to sort of like define that area too. And then I'm just taking a little bit across my wee nose. I'm gonna leave the blush for another day. I still feel like I have a little bit of like redness showing through as like a natural blush situation. But this is where I'm gonna leave the makeup. I feel positively about this. This is what it looks like. I don't know, man. I think that's a pretty, I mean, obviously you know I'm wearing makeup, okay? But like if I was on a subway and some guy looked at me, he'd be like, yeah, I like girls that don't wear makeup. And I'd be like, I am wearing fucking makeup, bro. You know, it's that kind of vibe. That's the look we're going for today. That's where I'll leave that, and it's really nice and comfortable because it's such a thin layer of product on your skin. It wears really comfortably throughout the day. At the end of my kind of like day of wearing makeup, I don't ever feel like it's super noticeable where the makeup has come off because it's all applied so sheerly and blended out really nicely. When I'm wearing a more full coverage foundation, I always find that I want to touch up throughout the day just because, you know, I've like been going like this to like think about my life choices, and then I rubbed off all my foundation in that area. So it's so stark in contrast when I have like my redness kind of thing and then like the super full coverage foundation everywhere else. So I always want to touch up when I'm using a fuller coverage foundation. But with looks like these and products like these, I just find myself not feeling like that as much. Even if my product's sort of worn off a little bit, I'm just going about my day, looking fresh-faced, feeling fresh-faced, and it's just like not a big issue, you know? So that concludes my tutorial. And thank you guys for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Peace out.